Welcome back again, forging friends. We are now halfway through this box. This is the 6th deck out of 12. Let's see what we have for today. All right, our houses today are Dis, Shadows, and we have Saurians. Prowler, Etherar, Foxworth, with a kind of neat looking Archon. It's got 2 staves there. With kind of a symmetrical Archon with a really cool looking, like, kind of fox head. That's awesome, actually. I really like that Archon. Let's crack it open and see what we got. We have Shadows to start with. We are starting with the rare action card, Sack of Coins. It has an amber when you play it, and you deal 1 damage to a creature for each amber you have. If this deck has a lot of amber generation, that could be really strong. Hit pretty hard. We've got Ransack, an action card. It says play steal 1 amber, discard the top card of your deck. If that card is a Shadows card, trigger this effect again. And I believe that you can do that multiple times if you have multiple Shadows cards on the top. That's pretty cool. Fidget is a 2-power creature with Elusive, and Reap, discard a random card from your opponent's archives or the top card of their deck. If that card is an action, play it as if it were yours. Good artifact, or archive disruption. Good to see that. Oh, we have 2 of that. Vandalize, an action card with an amber pip. Play, look at the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck, discard 1, and put the others back in any order. Really good disruption. Very few things let us disrupt our opponent's cards in deck. And we have 2 of those. That's pretty cool. Look over there, an action card with play, deal 2 damage to a creature. If it's not destroyed, steal 1 amber. Already some decent steal. And we have 2 of those. I'm seeing a theme here. We have 2 of a lot of things. Oh, we have 3 of those. Wow, that's a lot of nice damage spreading. And for each of those, we steal 1 if that doesn't kill an enemy. That's pretty cool. Gamgee, a 2-power creature with Elusive. And Reap, if your opponent has more amber than you, steal 1 amber. Standard Shadows creature. 2 of him. Oh my gosh, we're getting lots of doubles here. Francis the Economist, a 3-power creature with Skirmish. Fight, each player gains 1 amber. I don't know, are we going to get 2 of him? Nope. We're on to Saurians. We have the rare action card, Crystal Surge. Amber when you play it, and play, exalt each mutant creature. That may or may not be good depending on how many mutants we have. I don't know. We'll have to evaluate that one later. That may or may not be a play for us. Pterodactyl, a 12-power creature with he enters play stunned. He only deals 4 damage when fighting, and before fight, deal 4 damage to each neighbor of the creature Pterodactyl fights. Great fighter. And a great target for a lot of captured or exalted amber. Saurian Egg, a 1-power 5-armor creature with an amber pip. Cannot fight or reap, and Omni, discard the top 2 cards of your deck. If you discard any Saurian creatures this way, put them into play ready, give them 3 +1 power counters, and destroy Saurian Egg. Very cool. Always good to have. We want to see a lot of Saurian creatures in the deck whenever we have this guy. Hedonistic Intent, an action card with an amber pip. Play, exalt each flank creature. Good if your opponent has weak flank creatures, for sure. Curiosaurus, an artifact. Each creature with amber on it gains destroyed. Move 1 amber from this creature to the most powerful enemy creature. Okay, so we definitely want to see lots of capturing since we can mitigate some of that. Blast from the Past is an action card with play, exalt a friendly creature, archive a Saurian creature from your discard pile, deal damage equal to the archive creature's power to an enemy creature. Okay, so you can get a creature back and you get to deal damage equal to that creature's power. That's pretty cool. Spoils of Battle, an action card with an amber pip. A friendly creature captures 1 amber, and each creature with amber on it captures 1 from its opponent. Ooh, if we could get a card in multiples, that'd be this one. That'd be nice. Oh, no. But we do have Perfectus Ludo, which is a great card. A 5-power creature with each other friendly creature gains destroyed. Move each amber from this creature to the common supply. Pretty much a standard requirement for any good Saurian pod. And we have Monument to Ludo. It's artifact. Action, move 1 amber from a creature to the common supply. If Praefectus Ludo is in your discard pile, move 2 amber from that creature to the common supply instead. Really preventing our opponent from getting all that amber back. Good card. Curse of Vanity, an action card with an amber pip. Play, exalt a friendly creature and an enemy creature. We got 2 of that. Axiom of Grisk, a action card with ward. A creature, and destroy each creature with no amber on it. Gain 2 chains. Good to have a board wipe, as I always say. On to Dis. We have Lyco Fiend, a 3-power creature with Skirmish, and destroyed, steal 1 amber. We got Dino Fiend, a creature with 4 power. Play, you may exalt Dino Fiend. If you do, deal 3 damage to a creature. Destroyed, steal 1 amber. With the Ludo, this guy has like no downsides. It's pretty cool. Shadow of Dis, an action card it's a rare action card with an amber pip. And play until the start of your next turn, each enemy creature's text box is considered blank. So no enemy creature effects, which is really, really cool. Can be used in a variety of ways to disrupt your opponent's board. That's a neat card. Soul Keeper is an upgrade with an amber pip. This creature gains destroyed. Destroy the most powerful enemy creature. Good to keep something alive for a little longer, maybe. Pandemonium, an action card with an amber pip. Play, each undamaged creature captures 1 from its opponent. Very situational. Got to make sure you have your board set up right to use that card. Essence Scale, an action card, or actually an artifact with an amber pip. And action, destroy a friendly creature. If you do, ready and use a friendly creature that shares a house with a destroyed creature. Okay. Probably good use. It could be used, I mean, it's only can be used use a friendly creature that shares a house with a destroyed. So you can use this for using creatures off house. So that's really good. There might be some good combos we can do with that, actually. Double Doom, a action card with return, with play, return an enemy creature to its owner's hand. Your opponent discards a random card from their hand. So you can potentially just discard one of their creatures or a good card. Break Key, an action card with an amber pip. Play, if your opponent has more forged keys than you, unforge an opponent's key, and if you unforge an opponent's key this way, your opponent gains 6 amber. Very interesting card. If we can capture all that amber off of them, that'd be really nice. Anguish, a 6 power creature with, for each damage on Anguish, your opponent's keys cost +1. So increase their key cost, break their key. That'd be kind of cool. Implosion, an action card with an amber pip. Destroy a friendly creature and an enemy creature. Drekker is a 4 power creature. Damage dealt to Drekker's neighbors during fights is also dealt to Drekker, and when he reaps, you steal 1 amber. And the final card is Bonesaw, a 5 power creature. If a friendly creature was destroyed this turn, Bonesaw enters play ready. Okay, let's get the counts ready, and I will be right back. All right, welcome back. I have separated out the cards. Let's count the number of creatures in this deck. We have 3 soaring creatures, which is pretty bad. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 creatures, not the most, probably around the lowest creatures we've seen so far. And then for amber on the cards, we have 1 from this guy, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 3 keys worth of amber on the cards is probably this deck's strength, I'll say. That's pretty cool. Looking at artifact control, I believe the only artifact control we have in this deck is the 2 fidgets, and the only control action cards. So I'll count them as a half each. So that's 1 for artifact control. For creature control, things that damage or destroy creatures. In the creatures, we have this guy, that if we exalt him, deals 3 damage to a creature. I don't think we have anything else. Maybe the pterodactyl will count as half, so 1.5. It's not really direct, so I'll count that. I'll say 1 so far for the creatures. This does damage, so we'll say 2, 3, 4, 5. And 6, 7. 7 so far for creature control. 8, 9, 9. 9 creature control is pretty good. That's a lot of creature control we have there, including a board wipe. Pretty good. Looking back at Amber Control, I don't think I looked at Amber Control yet. Things that let us control our opponents. Amber, obviously. We have... So I'll count this as a -1 because when he fights, both players gain 1. So that's -1. And these 2, it's only applicable whenever your opponent has more Amber than you. So I'll count them each as a half. So that's so far 0. Steals 1, so 1, 2, 3 increases your opponent's key cost, and steals. So that's... right, that's 1, 2, 3, yeah, that'd be 4. 4 then for the creatures in Amber Control. And looking at the Amber cards, we have 5, 6, 7, 8, We have a lot of Exalting here, right? Yeah, I don't know about those. 9, 10, 10 so far. 11, 12. Wow. Okay. So that's 12 cards. We have that deal and control our opponent's amber. Let's subtract the cards that exalt, because we have a few things that exalt, and I believe exalting can kind of hurt that part of it. So we'll say it's not required exalting, but we'll count this one as -1. -2, -3, -4, so, oh wait, this one, yeah, -5. Okay, -5. So 12 minus 5, we'll say we have a total of 7 amber control, which is pretty good. The 7 different amber control cards. We might not always take the loss from those exalting cards, but just to count the deck as a whole, I'll say we have a total of 7 amber control cards. Going to efficiency, things that let us use cards off house or speed up our deck, this can count, but unfortunately, since we only have 2 other Saurian creatures in this entire deck, I don't know that we'd ever want to use a Saurian Egg in this deck. It's just going to discard 2 cards from our deck, maybe cards that we need. So it's kind of a risky play. Maybe if you have a low deck and you kind of know what's left in your deck, you could potentially use this guy to kind of thin your deck a little bit, but that's kind of a niche scenario. I don't know that that would be a thing that you would want to do as a rule. So I'm not going to count him as efficiency right now. So how can we use cards off house? I don't think we have any creatures that do that. Do we have any amber cards that let us do that? Any amber cards that add to our efficiency? So this lets us destroy a friendly creature of any house and use a creature off house. So I'll count that as 1. We could potentially use a creature off house that way. And I think that's about it. So not great for efficiency. For recursion, things that let us get cards back, I don't know. I think the only recursion that we have, there might be 1 card. The last card, I think that the only card that I think offered some incursion was this Blast from the Past, where we can archive a Saurian creature from our discard pile. Unfortunately, we only have 3 Saurian creatures, but that gets us an extra use out of one of them. So that's pretty helpful. And then the last thing we wanted to see in this deck was disruption. Things that get cards out of our opponent's hands or generally prevent them from doing things that they want to do. I don't think we have any creatures that do that in particular. Maybe the Praefectus Ludo, since we have a lot of exalting in this deck, so I'll count that as half. Kind of discourages our opponents from destroying our creatures while he's out. So yeah, no creatures that offer some actual disruption there, but I think we have a fair few cards in here. Yeah, so we have 2 Vandalizes, that's definitely disruption, so that's 2 so far. Shadow of Dish, that's more creature control, so not that one. 2 so far. And Double Doom returns a creature to their hand unless it's discarded card from their hand. So that's 3 disruptions so far. So looking at this overall, as a whole, this deck, it has low creatures, but it has a higher amount of amber than I've seen in a while on the cards, right? So there's a lot of potential amber that we can get from the cards. The problem is low creature count and the Saurian being very, very underwhelming creature-wise. Like, the best creature we have 2 good creatures, but that's only the only creatures we have. Our Shadows creatures are pretty good overall, but they're just typical Shadows creatures, and we have typical disc creatures here, nothing crazy, right? And we have decent amounts of amber control. I don't think that this deck has anything particular that's going to stand out compared to a lot of the really good decks out there. So I don't think it's going to score super high in the SAS, but For my guess, just from looking at all these cards, I don't see like a big strategy. I mean, there's some capture and stuff like that, but there's not really a core, unique strategy. It's just reaping out and playing your cards. Pretty straightforward deck. So I'm gonna say that this is in the 60s again. Let's go for maybe a 66. Yeah, I think it feels like a 66. Let's go to my desktop and see how close I was. Be right back. All right, welcome back to my desktop. I have copied the link, and let's see what this deck can do. Like I said, I think I'm going to lock in my 66. Really didn't have much going for it. It's just, another deck where the main strategy is just to reap and play cards. It had a decent amount of amber control, but I don't know that amount of amber control is going to really make a difference when it comes to combating, even a moderate deck's amber generation. It had a couple good cards with Pandemonium and City-State Interest in there, but that's just two decent cards in a pool of better cards. And also, I looked up this Crystal Surge card here, where it exalts each mutant creature. It's actually a pretty good card in this deck because of the 13 creatures we have, only 2 are mutants, and they both are the disc creatures with really good destroyed effects. The destroyed effects that steal an amber. So, this card will probably be at play no matter what. It'll, most of the time probably help us rather than hurt us. So that's a good thing, at least. So, but, even with that, even with the 18 amber on the cards and the decent amber control, I don't think there's anything that really pushes it beyond a 66. I'd be happy to see this as a 70, but my gut is telling me 66 based on what I've seen. So go ahead and make your guess now, and let's see what we have. It's a 66 on the dot. I was 100% right. That's good news. I still got it. So let's see if what we said was true. So for the amber control, we only lose some from the ones that, like I said, the Francis, and then the ones that exalt. Those ones give us negative amber control, and the Ransack is the one that gives us the most positive amber control, the one that lets us steal one and continue stealing based on what the top card of our deck is. But then for our expected amber, we have a bunch. We only lose a little bit from that Pterodactyl since it enters play stunned, but that's not a huge loss. The Essence Scale being the biggest giver, we didn't actually expect that, but I guess even with 13 creatures, we can use creatures off house every disc turn to potentially get into the reap in there, which is pretty good. Our speed is at 0. We have that Saurian Egg, which cancels out with that Axiom of Grisk. I did forget to count that Grisk as negative efficiency in my counts, but it ended up with the speed being counted as 0. It didn't count. There's no artifact control. I think maybe in the counts I said that the fidgets were artifact control. I meant archive control, so that's more disruption than anything else. I kind of messed it up. There's no artifact control in this deck at all. But looking at recursion, blast from the past, like we said, disruption, double doom, shadow of dis, vandalize, and fidget are all good disruption cards. Let's look at our synergies. We have Dino Fiend, things that destroy creatures. We have several things that can destroy our own creatures. So the 2 destroyed creatures we have are going to be pretty easy to destroy. We have the Implosion, Essence Scale, Soul Keeper, and Axiom of Grisk to take care of those guys. Going down here, we have the Axiom of Grisk. We have a lot of things. We have Pandemonium that can put things on friendly creatures to keep them alive. We have lots of ways of exalting our own creatures, which is great to have with the Grisk, always. We have let's see, for Curiosaurus, we have things that exalt friendly, so Curiosaurus is always good. Yeah, so we can put amber that's on our creatures to the enemy creature, which is nice. Let's see. Going down to Fidget, reveals top card of enemy, Vandalize. Oh, that's really cool, actually. That's a good synergy. We can Vandalize on one turn. They're going to draw, though. So what we would have to do is no, actually, Vandalize is a Shadows card. So we could Vandalize their deck, rearrange the top cards, and then Fidget the card that we want. So that's actually really good. We have 2 Fidgets, and we have several Vandalizes. So that's probably a really good strategy in this deck. Just whatever card we want to put on top, and then we can immediately Fidget that card. That's really cool. I like seeing things like that. So that gives us a lot more ability to disrupt our opponent with these Fidgets. Fantastic. We're losing a little bit because we have a couple mutant creatures with the Crystal Surge, but obviously those mutant creatures, we really don't care if they die. We kind of want them off the board as much as possible, just to get those steals in. And the last thing that you can't quite see down here is the Monument to Ludo, giving it a plus 65% because of all the things we have that can exalt. So adding more things to our potential supply that way. But yeah, overall, I think we did a good job evaluating these decks. I really always hate to see a Saurian with only 3 creatures in it. It feels like Saurian should at least have 6 creatures. But this Shadows is kind of crazy with 3 Look Over Theirs, 2 Vandalize, 2 Fidget, like just a lot of doubles in this Shadows, which really makes me excited about it. And I like the Break Key. I think it's a funny card. I don't know that we'd be able to really make the best use of it, but I could see something like, we have a Break Key, we have maybe this Anguish out that increases their key cost by maybe 3 or 4, and then we have the Pandemonium on top of that. We just do a whole bunch of stuff at once to take our opponent's Amber after the Break Key, and make him have to forge 4 keys instead of 3 to win. So yeah, it's interesting. I don't know if I'll get a chance to play this deck, but I think it would be interesting. It'd be a fun play. But what do you guys think? Were you close to the 66? Go ahead and leave a comment with what you guessed, and if you liked this video, I appreciate a like, and if you want to see more of this, please subscribe. And everyone have a great day. Bye-bye.